Welcome back to another edition of Dat Talk Podcast. I go by the name of Bacon. I got my co-host with me.
It's your boy, man. I decided to throw in a little Vancouver Grizzly hat, even though it's not. Yeah, but the hat looked nice in the closet, so I grabbed it and threw it on. Shout out to the Vancouver Grizzlies. Shout out to Mike Bibby and Sharif Abdul-Rahim, and
yeah. Anyway, it's a lot of drama going on because it is football today, and it got a lot to do with my man Deshawn Watson. He's losing everything as of right now when it comes to endorsements. Nike's gone. All the other endorsements are followed suit, and they are parting ways with Deshawn Watson after these 22 allegations. And not only are people parting ways, you had two of the potential victims of sexual assaults that happened with Deshawn Watson are speaking out. And one of them is boldly said her name and said she is done keeping quiet for an incident that happened with her and Deshawn March of 2020. How do you feel about that, Reese?
This is tough, man. I mean, we touched on it last week, and we just trying to, everyone's still trying to put the pieces of this puzzle together.
Yeah.
Because there's so many moving parts, bro. It's like, we touched on the 22 allegations, and we also talked about the 18 women that said he didn't do nothing. And, I'm sitting there still trying to figure out, like, why this man need 39 different women to get massages from.
Yeah.
It sounds a little freaky to me. I just, I feel like when you that man, and when you're Deshawn Watson, you should have one masseuse, because you should be able to call that person and that becomes your personal masseuse. Now, if you say you're on the road or something and you don't want to take that person with you, then you may go get one, you play in Jacksonville, you may go to a Jacksonville massage parlor or something like that. But for him to have so many, I guess, within the Texan area and then, in some other various parts is very interesting. And like I said, my position has not necessarily changed to where there is some truth behind some of these allegations. Not all 22 of these women are coming out on some money hungry stuff. I'm not going to sit here and give it a number of how many exactly, because I respect women and these allegations are serious. So, I'm not going to do nothing silly like that. I just can't sit there and say all 22 hold the same weight as probably the number of ones that I really have happened. And it's really not looking good for Mr. Deshawn Watson. I don't necessarily know what this means going forward, but for it still not to hit the authorities and nothing has really been filed, it's still
it hit the authorities. They filed a report. The police, The police did file a report. So it's in the authority hands now. But here's my thing, man. And I don't want to say who's right or wrong. I'm not here to say that. Yeah. I know last week we got a lot of people riled up because we said in the title, Deshawn Watson is innocent, and here's why. And I'm sorry we ruffled your feathers, but you did click on it, the video. And it's not clickbait, because I stand by that, because he's innocent until proven guilty, first of all. And second of all, this is the thing that gets me, man. I don't know what kind of massage masseuses or massage places he's been going to, but to have 22 allegations is almost like he's been going to some happy ending massage therapy. Because in my opinion, this is my opinion, in my head, I'm thinking, if I'm going to a masseuse that I know I ain't getting none of this extra treatment, I know as in my head I ain't gonna do nothing crazy, because that's not what they about, right? Unless the people that is allowing him to come and get a massage, I don't know what's being said, because it's always three sides to a story. It's his side, their side, and the truth, right? So I don't know what's being said, but for a man to have 22 allegations, 22, I can understand if it was one, maybe two, 5 even on a more side, but 22, there's got to be some kind of disconnect, Because even with some of the stories, even in some of the literature and the language that they're saying, that he supposedly touched women while he was getting a massage with his private parts and kissing on them. And so I'm trying to figure this out because the details are a little bit hard for me to understand. If a man is laying on his back, okay, if he's laying, let's say he's just laying on his back, right? Not on his stomach, but he's laying on his back. Number one, I can understand if you want to, Deshawn, no Mosky, but Deshawn Watson must have a crazy, you know what I mean? If he's able to lay on his back and touch a woman in the inappropriate places with his genitals, number one, and then how is he kissing on you while he's laying down? And if you're in the power of dominance because you're standing tall and he's laying down, in my opinion, and again, I'm not saying they're wrong or they're right. I'm not saying their story's not valid. But I'm trying to paint a picture. I'm trying to paint a picture and put two and two together. But if a man is laying on his back and you're in the power of dominance, you have every right in your power to leave that massage therapist and get out of here. You can get up out of there and be like, no, he's acting inappropriate. Please call the police. I'm afraid of my life. Woo, woo, woo. If that is the case, if this man is sexually assaulting you, I just don't understand how he did it laying on his back, number one. And if he's laying on his back and you have the power of dominance, why you just won't get up out of there? Why would you stand in that situation and let it happen? I just don't understand. And again, it could have happened that way. Or he could have been standing up and he was trying to prevent her from leaving. But here's my thing, and this is my issue. And again, I know people always say it's never too late to tell somebody because people can be traumatized. I don't want to normalize what they're feeling. But this happened a year ago. This happened a year ago. And for it to happen a year ago, it is crazy that now we're talking about this a year ago. Like nobody at your job knew about this for a whole year. You kept this to yourself for a whole year. Like you didn't tell nobody. Like not even your job, not even your bosses. You didn't tell nobody. And then again, it's the timing of everything. Deshawn Watson wants to leave Houston. All of a sudden, here comes these allegations. So that's why in my head, and again, I'm not saying what they're saying is not true, but what I'm saying is the timing of all this seemed too coincidental, and it seems too just out of the blue for me to be like, a brother wants to leave Houston, so all of a sudden he got 22 allegations. If this was last year, if this happened last year, we had a football season last year. Where was this at last year? Where was all this at last year? Why did it take a whole year when a man talk about he want to leave Houston for all this stuff to blow up and say, it happened to me. Oh, it happened to me too. It happened to me too. Oh, I wasn't the only one. Why now? That's my thing. I just want to understand it. Why now? And why is it so many of them coming out right now? That's my thing.
Yeah, I mean, you made some very valid points, man. Because when you hear the language of, I don't want it to happen to no one else, I'm speaking out now because I want to bring it all to the forefront. When I listen to these things, and I've heard these things in the past, you know, how, you know, we talk about Bill Cosby and how, you know, yeah, that's like 30, 40 years ago. And then you talk about some of the things that happen, you know, the Penn States and how like things happen here and then we don't find out about it till later. Like I've always had a problem with that because, you know, the moment is when things really need to be addressed. You feel me? In that moment, how many so I look at it like this. One girl finally speaks up when it first happens. How many lives could she, quote unquote, could have saved then? You trying to save lives now, he ain't nobody gonna mess with him already because the allegations are, so everybody already gonna be looking at him sideways. So you're not necessarily doing nothing, quote unquote, to save lives unless you just trying to prevent other NFL players to know like, oh, we put y'all on notice. But when it happens, if one or two of them women would have spoke up then, Boom. Now we all looking at Deshawn Watson like, whoa, bro. Like this happened a month ago. Like what you on? There is no defense behind it because we looking at you was there in March, April. They came out and said something. Like, what's up? You feel me? And it doesn't get to 22 allegations. We had 2 allegations. You feel me? And like, like you said, we're not here to say that these women are wrong.
I'm not saying.
Nope. We're not here to say that whatever they experience is not the right experience. We just trying to understand the why we gotta wait so late to expose people that are doing said things like this. You feel me? Because we're not talking about a rape case where he forced these women to do sexual acts unwillingly, because everything I read, we didn't even get to no sexual acts. It's all some touching or exposure or some inappropriate vibe type stuff. We didn't get to nothing, a sexual act at all they was forced to do anything of that nature. So we can eliminate the whole rape allegations out of it, just more or less sexual misconduct.
Yeah.
And, like you said, it's been a whole year. And if you felt some kind of way when it happened, you wait a year to get that off your chest. Like that's just, to me, even if it did happen, that's just not cool for you to be walking around with that burden on your mind and body for a whole year.
Right.
Like that. I don't think you should be carrying those kind of burdens on your body, in your mind for a year.
Facts. And again, I'm not saying there's a right time to say it, but my thing is this, man. And again, and I don't know the story. The details will come out eventually. And I'm not taking his side, and I'm not taking the accusers. I mean the victim side. But my thing is this, man. Is simple as this. Before it got to the police, they was trying to get some money. And I'm gonna just call it a spade a spade. It wasn't like I'm gonna go to the authorities first. No, they was trying to handle it under the table, and I'm assuming, and the details will come out eventually, but I'm assuming his camp said, no, we ain't paying nothing to keep quiet because we ain't do nothing. So now they're like, well, we're going to authorities, because it wasn't first talk to authorities at first. Everybody was like, yo, this don't even seem right. The authorities not even involved. But now, quote unquote, the authorities involved because obviously somebody didn't get paid. Now, and they can come out and say it's not about the money or whatnot, because if it wasn't about the money, the first person you would have came to was said to the authorities, and you would have documented everything that happened off rip. It wouldn't have been no, let's try to nip this in the butt between us. No, if you really, because in my heart, if I'm really caring for the victims, if I'm really trying to be an advocate for the victims, then I'm going to the proper authorities first, or whatever the case may be. And I can seek whatever kind of payments I need to do after that. But whatever. But I need to go to the authorities. They didn't even go to the authorities first. This has been going on for a couple of months, about 2-3 months now. And they just now going to the authorities. So I'm pretty sure they tried to get it back. They try to go under the table and get it back. Pay us, we keep quiet.
Hush money. It's been reported that it was conversations of hush money between Deshawn Watson camp and some of the accusers or the victims. It has been documented. And so I look at it like you. I feel like they offered a number. Deshawn them was like, that number is crazy. We're not gonna get that number. So they like, oh, well, since you ain't gonna get that number, this is what we're gonna do. And again, it's like, is this a genuine act? Are we genuinely saying we want to make sure these predators or quote unquote are not being what's the word I'm looking for? Jesus Christ. Not being celebrated, because Deshaun Watson is a celebrated quarterback in the league. So when you look at it, it's like, we don't want these kind of dudes to go unnoticed to where they can just get away with anything because of their status in the league. Or is it like, well, Deshaun Watson tried this on me, let me try to get it back, and since I can't get the bag, now I'm about to go after it. Like, nah, to me, we need to expose these kind of people. If this is what he's really on, he needs to be exposed for being a very indecent human in these kind of situations. You feel me? Like, there is no color barrier when it comes to being wrong to me. So if he's being wrong and he's out here sexually misconduct and got women feeling uncomfortable when he's going to get a simple massage, then he needs to be exposed and needs to be dealt with accordingly.
Right.
But if you don't want to sit there and really deal with it accordingly and you willing to come to the table to get some money to be quiet about it, because to me, if you get the number you want, do we hear anything about this?
Right.
No. If they cash you out here, well, here's 1.5 million just to be quiet, and you sign an affidavit that you would never speak on this again. Right. That's what that come down to. It's a non-disclosure assignment. You know, the agreement. Right. We paid you this 1.5.
Now you can't talk about it because if you do, now you in trouble.
But I'm telling you, we know how this goes, because we wouldn't hear about there was a hush money conversation. We'd only be hearing about allegations. If we have never heard about hush money conversations, I'll probably have a different perspective. But because hush money has been discussed, it makes this situation, like you said, a little bit like we need more facts. We got to hear more before we really, quote unquote, pick a side.
Right. And that's all I'm saying. Again, I'm not trying to normalize these women from being victims, if that is the case. I'm just saying, if you're actually doing it for the right reasons, then you would never have to do no under the table, let's try to strike a deal, or I'm gonna go public with it. I'm going public because there are women who are sexually assaulted on a regular. Right. And they go to the authorities. They're not looking at, I'm going to keep quiet, you pay me some bread. No, I don't care about no money. I want you to be punished for your acts. I want you to be in trouble for what you tried to do to me. You violated me. And from there, I am forever scarred. And those are the people I want to glorify, and I want to uplift them to be able to have a voice and say something. But you cannot come out and be like, yo, I tried to get my bag, but they didn't give me my bag. Now I'm about to go public with it, and now I'm about to go to authorities. That just looks wrong. Even if it happened or not, the way you're going about it just looks bad. And at the end of the day, I'm not saying what he did was right, but I'm saying if you want to make sure he get in trouble or he gets, apprehended or whatever, the consequence comes for him for his actions, then do it the right way. Then if you would have came out and said we're going to authorities for this, and then look, it's okay. We can talk about it, but we'll find out more details or more to come. We would keep it live, keep it locked in with our show on Deshawn Watson. And again, I'm sorry we ruffled feathers last week. We just being honest. He's still innocent until proven guilty at the end of the day. So no matter what allegations is, they're just allegations. They haven't been proven yet. So you can't say this man is guilty and try to say you as a woman assaulter, you a sexual assault guy, because a lot of y'all do that, all right? And y'all don't even have the facts yet. And I get it. All these other businesses, they pull themselves away from it because they like, yo, if he do come out to be guilty, that look bad at us. So we got to do something, because then we're going to have a lot of people saying we're not supporting Nike, we're not supporting Beats by Dre because of you support this. I understand it. I get it. But until we find the facts, the man is still innocent. And that's just what it is. But anyway, moving on to some big trades that happened in the NFL. Donald is going to the Panthers, and that leaves the Jets without a quarterback. What does that mean moving forward for the Jets? Because the draft is just around the corner. We're about 2 weeks away.
Oh, that means they're taking a quarterback number 2. That's what that means. Whether it's Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. Right now, my mock draft, Too Many Reasons mock draft 1.0, I got them taking Zach Wilson at number 2. And, I feel like being at number 2, unless for sure you believed in Darnold, then you have to move on. I mean, they got a new coach coming in, and Robert Salehi, the DC from Frisco. And more likely than not, when a new coach comes in, they want to kind of do things their way. They want to start fresh and kind of get their guys in there. They didn't draft Darnold, so there wasn't no loyalty to Darnold. And you know how that can come, how that can be when a new coach come in and the guy that was there is really unproven. It's like, oh, we can move on and do our thing. Same thing with Cliff Kingsbury when he came to Arizona. They had just drafted Josh Rosen. They had the number 1 pick. They like, well, we're taking Kyler Murray. Sorry, Josh Rosen. That's just the nature of the beast. So I got the Jets taking the quarterback at number 2. I got them taking Wilson. It just makes things interesting in Carolina. when it comes to the whole Teddy Bridgewater thing, because they traded or signed him to a big contract last offseason.
Yeah.
And now it's like you don't trade for a Sam Darnold for him to become the number 2.
Why would you?
You could have just stuck with Teddy Bridgewater and been good. Like, so you traded for him to become the starter. Now Teddy Bridgewater looking like the highest paid backup in the league.
I'm not going to go ahead and say Donald is going to get the starting job. I can see him being a backup. Look, if you paid me all that bread, right, unless they're going to move Bridgewater, which they didn't, and unless they may be thinking about it moving him in the future, when the draft comes, anything is possible. People can probably make some moves, make some trades to get some assets and things like that. But until they do that, I think Bridgewater is still going to be the number 1 guy. And I think Darnold is going to be the number 2. He hasn't proven himself and he hasn't showed any promise. So he don't have to start. He can learn. Maybe this is a good humbling experience for that man to learn the game, get better, improve. You got a veteran quarterback, Bridgewater, he had a solid year last year, and you can learn. And you're maybe even on a better team. You get what I'm saying? But I don't think they traded him for Darnold to be the starter. But that does create competition, though. It creates competition, and it makes Bridgewater step up his game more because he's like, yo, all right, what we doing here? Is like, y'all gave me the bread, so I got to show y'all why I'm going to be the number 1 guy, and that's okay. And it's always good to have a solid backup if somebody get hurt, because Bridgewater is known for injuries. We see it. He's known for injuries, and Donald would be a good little backup coming in. And I think the Jets may get a quarterback. I think they're going to get a quarterback because now they don't have a quarterback. They don't have no quarterback. They are back at square one, and it's crazy because Darnold only played 2 years, 2 seasons.
Yeah, this would have been his 3rd year heading in.
So they didn't even give him no kind of hope, no weapons, and it's sad. But he could be one of those stories that you get drafted, go to a team, play backup, then end up reviving your career, possibly at Carolina. But we will see. It's just interesting. It's interesting with the draft coming up. These top quarterbacks, this may be a quarterback draft in the 1st round.
And here's my hot take. My hot take.
Hot take.
Be on the lookout for Teddy Bridgewater to Denver Broncos. Teddy Bridgewater to the Broncos, because I don't think that they real confident in a quarterback situation with Drew Lock. I think a Teddy Bridgewater with the weapons that they got is a trade that we need to be on the lookout for. Just my humble opinion. So, if it happens, you heard it here first. Talk that talk.
That's random. Why would they trade Bridgewater for who they trading for? Lockett?
No, they're not trading for Lock. They just trading Bridgewater to go get some of them draft picks that they gave up to get Darnold. And it gives Bridgewater a chance to go compete, because like me and you disagree in this perspective of they traded for Sam Darnold to me to come in and be the starter.
I doubt that.
Because I don't see no reason to trade for Darnold then. Like, I don't. I feel like if anything, you could stay where you at and you could draft a young quarterback. I feel like I think they drafted at 8 or 9. At that position, you can take a Trey Lance. You could probably get a Mac Jones. Or you can trade up in the draft and get a young QB, and that kind of be the heir apparent to Teddy Bridgewater. For you to trade for Darnold, that means you feel like you cool at the QB position, you can go address other needs. You could have used your first round pick to get a young guy to be the backup, and you would be paying him at or around the same as Darnold or less, but then it doesn't ruffle the feathers of Teddy Bridgewater. There's no way if I'm a starting quarterback and you go trade for a starting quarterback, I don't feel some kind of way knowing that you just brought me in here and paid me. The thing that I look back, I know Teddy can look at it like now is like he shouldn't have went and took the bag from Carolina, because he could have stayed in New Orleans and Drew Brees retired and he'd be the number 1, because when he was in New Orleans, they went 5-0 with him.
I mean, I hear all that. But if you get a bag, you get a bag. Don't look, at the end of the day, it's a business. Okay. Gosh. And you're going to get your bag. He's getting his bag. I doubt they trade him unless they're going to trade him for some other stuff. But I don't think they're going to trade him. I really don't. I think that it could have been a little swap, like, yo, hey, help us out. We need help. Y'all can have Donald. We get some picks or whatever. We need a quarterback. Let's part our ways. I don't know, because again, this is an organization, so you never know the inside scoops on a lot of stuff. And they getting Darnold, and he's not a bad quarterback. He had weapons. So I don't think that Bridgewater is going to be gone. I think this is going to be competition, and he could lose his spot if Darnold play better than him in the training camps and all those things that lead up to the season. But I don't think they just gave a man all that money to just trade it away. I don't think they did that, unless Bridgewater may not be healthy. Maybe that could be the case, that he's not healthy, and maybe, I don't know. We'll find out and soon to come. But there's a hotline blinging.
Ooh,
a hotline is blinging, and it's in the ATL. Everybody got my Falcons on the phone because they want our number 4 pick. They want our number 4 pick. Okay. Everybody, reasons, I should say, got 3 quarterbacks going 1, 2, 3. And they're saying, Atlanta, hey, man, if y'all ain't going to get no quarterback, y'all don't really need that number 4. So trade it so we can get it. Mm-hmm. And Atlanta is like, that's what you talking about. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If you ain't talking a little lemon pepper, we want to pull the trigger on that. But how do you feel about Atlanta and the hotline blinging in the ATL?
Hey, man, listen, man. It's interesting. Atlanta is officially the wild card of the draft. Every year there is a team that you sit there and be like, what they gonna do? You feel me? Like, what direction they going? Because you've come out here and you said it throughout the season that you feel like right now the organization ain't in the winning right now mode. Like, you're kind of in like I would say rebuild, not necessarily retool, kind of like you're in a rebuild stage, with Matty Ice getting a little older.
We're rebuilding. We are rebuilding.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And so that's why this pick is such a wild card pick, because in the rebuild mode, you move back and gather assets, right? So with a first round pick at 4, you can ask for the farm if somebody's trying to move up. I'm going to need your pick this year, a second this year, your first round next year, and a third next year. That's a lot, because that's kind of what, people done got from moving into the top 5 of a draft when it comes to doing stuff like that. So I can respect that. But I think y'all are not that bad. I feel like health has continued to hinder y'all. And if you can have a healthy team, I feel like y'all can be good. And that's why I think you stay packed and you take at 4 Kyle Pitts, the tight end out of Florida, and you pair him with Ridley and Julio. And now, even if Julio's hurt, you got a guy in Kyle Pitts that possesses the same matchup problems that Julio possessed. And in a division where you got to score points, when you look at the Tom Brady's and you look at what the Saints can do with Jameis Winston, and you're not necessarily worried about Carolina as much, I feel like right now, y'all to me can be the number 2 team in the NFC South. Just with that move. That's just my humble opinion. That I feel like with that move of Kyle Pitts, y'all can move it to the that number 2 thing. And then you still got Hayden Hurst, so you still can run 2 different tight end sets. And it's more of an insurance policy for Julio's health. And then I think in the second round, maybe third, depending on what quarterback is there, like a Kyle Trask or the young man from Stanford that's climbing up draft boards, or even a Kelly Mond from Texas A&M, y'all can get them in the second and third round, and you still got your young quarterback under the tutelage of Matty Ice, depending on how many more years he got.
I hear that. That was a good. I like Pitts. I do like Pitts. He'll be a great tight end. We always do really well when we have a good tight end. TG, Tony Gonzalez, Hall of Famer. He helped us out a lot.
Andrew Crumpler when he was with Vic.
Yeah. But we do good with a tight end. And we have solid tight end right now. We do have a solid tight end, and it's a young tight end, but it's not a Pitts. I'm not going to sit up there and lie and say he's a Pitts. He's not a Pitts, all right? I'm just going to be 100. He's from Florida. He does a lot of amazing things. Here's my thing with my team.
Okay. Talk about
it. We really need, we have the weapons. Adding the Pitts is good. It's a great move, but really, we need to solidify our offensive line. I like my dude out of Oregon. I love that offensive lineman out of Oregon. I think he's going to go big. I think he's going to do really well. But people always get caught up in position players, and they always get caught up in those players, but they don't understand the football field is won at the line of scrimmage.
In the trenches.
It's won in the trenches. When you saw the Kansas City Chiefs get routed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it wasn't because they didn't have all those weapons. Kansas City got so many weapons on their team, but it was the line of scrimmage. Their line was the reason why Pat Mahomes ran for a negative 500 yards. And Matt Ryan is still up there getting sacked at the highest. He's up there, damn near where Eli Manning. God rest his soul, but he's up there of getting sacked on sack on sack on sack. And we need to protect our quarterback. And I would love for us to get an offensive lineman to solidify our offensive line, because that's what we need. Look, Julio is great. We have so many weapons. We got some receivers that are nobody really know their name, but they're really solid, and they can be some solidified receivers. And we got a decent tight end. We don't really need a tight end, so getting a tight end wouldn't really be crazy. Wouldn't be the best move for us. We need to either get an offensive lineman, or we need a defensive a D end, somebody that's going to cause some pressure for us, because we don't get no pressure on that line. And in our corners, we go super way. We got our linebacker playing pretty good. My man Jones has been playing pretty solid when he's healthy. We can get another corner if anything. We lacking a free safety. We losing it. We need a free safety, and we need a D end. Those are our holes: an offensive lineman, a D end, a free safety, and another solidified corner. Those 4 positions can help us. For sure, on the offensive line, that can help us. But on the defense, that can help us tremendously, because we have a hog like my man's in Tampa Bay got. We got a dog. D. Jones is fire if he stays healthy. If he stays healthy. But I don't know what we're going to do. I just don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do. And I'm trying to figure out this move right here. If we answer the call or not, it's going to determine what direction we want to go into. If we're like, we can still win right now, or we're looking towards the future, or we just doing whatever the hell we want to do, and we ain't trying to play no games. It's whatever. Because again, there's a lot of teams that don't have championship mentality. And again, we haven't recovered from that Super Bowl loss from from Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. The one we should have had, we let get away. And it's going to be tough as hell to get back to that promised land. So I don't know, because we're on about a couple more years before Julio is on his way out. He's damn near about to be in late 30s, and he's still getting hurt. He hasn't even played a full season. He's always injured, and I love Julio. I love it. And we got really another guy who can't stay healthy. I don't know what it is about Bama boys. They be in the trenches for so long that, they don't, that longevity, it hurts them more times than none. But we will see. We will see moving forward. What do you want to say before we get up out of here, man? It's a lot of news, a lot of stuff coming up. Draft pick. Let's do a mock draft next week.
Yeah, man. I've already started. I think I've done my first top 11. 10.
Do the top 10.
I already done my top 10. I already done my top 10.
Do a top 10.
All right. I want to do a top 10, but I want to do a whole 32.
I know, but we're going to starting with the top 10, man. We're leading up to the draft.
Okay, I got you. I got 10. I already got my 10 done.
All right. That's fine. Next week.
Right. So next week, top 10.
Top 10.
So you doing 1, 2.
I'm going to have mine. We're definitely going to follow this D. Watson stuff, because as we know, we're going to definitely let you know. But next week, we're doing a top 10 mock draft for the NFL draft that's coming up. Let us know your top 10 today. All right. Comment below. Who's your top 10? Who you got going top 10 in NFL mock draft, man? But that's all I got. You got anything to say before we leave?
No, man. I know we don't talk much baseball on here. But shout out to the MLB, man, and what they did as far as taking the All-Star game out of Atlanta due to the voting rights suppression that is going on with the moves, and and how Atlanta is handling the voting thing is putting the situations where minorities is becoming harder to vote for minorities. And the MLB saw that they're not handling that right. And they took the All-Star game out of that city because you know what that brings to that city as far as the money being generated. Right. And I definitely respect the MLB for that move because they thinking inclusion and big picture. Their profession has a lot of Dominicans and dudes that are not quote unquote white America. And you can't talk about inclusion. And then when you present it with the opportunity to really be about it, you don't do nothing. And for them to do something like this shows that their message is true about how they feel about inclusion, man. Shannon Sharp said it best. It shouldn't be easier to get a gun than to vote. And that's what these laws are doing to suppress the voting because of how the thing turned out. Atlanta and Georgia is normally a red state, and they got converted to blue this year, and people ain't happy about it. Right. So, just shout out to the MLB because we don't talk much baseball, but shout out to MLB and
shout out to MLB with that. That's a big move. Look, they put their money where their mouth is, and that takes a lot of courage. I get it. It's a business because if they didn't do it, it'll look bad on them, and they lose money. Amen. All right, and we get it. Money is the root of a lot of things, and depending on where your heart is, it'll determine if it's good or bad. But anyway, man, that is going to do it for us today, man. Again, we're going to keep you locked in with the Deshawn Watson case, and we're going to keep you locked in with the top 10 next week. We love y'all. Stay safe, stay blessed, and always remember to talk that talk. We see y'all next Tuesday because KD's back. We got a lot to talk about. Peace.